Today we're going to talk about a cryptocurrency project that I'm really excited about. That project is called Flux. I currently make $450 a month running Flux nodes to support the Flux ecosystem. If Flux were to go back to its all-time highs we saw this January, I'd be making $2,355 per month running my Flux nodes.
You make a lot of money.
Flux is currently my third largest cryptocurrency holding, behind Bitcoin and Ethereum. I hope that shows the conviction I have behind this project. I think Flux as a cryptocurrency is drastically undervalued, and I think it has the potential to become a top 30 cryptocurrency project in the next bull run. But obviously this is not financial advice, and do your own research before investing in any cryptocurrency projects. So you may be asking, what is Flux? Flux is the new generation of scalable, decentralized cloud infrastructure. You can really think of Flux as a pick and shovel play for Web 3.0. They're providing the new infrastructure so people can host their new web projects and applications. And when I say pick and shovel play, that's a reference to the 1840s gold rush, where the people who got the most rich were the people that were actually selling the picks, the shovels, the pans, the jeans to the people that were actually searching for gold. Levi Strauss, I think, got their start from selling jeans within the gold rush. So you can really think of Flux as its own pick and shovel play relating to Web 3.0. So you may be asking, so that sounds all great, but how do I start earning some Flux? Well, currently I see three different ways you can earn Flux. The first being you can mine Flux. Flux is a proof of work coin, similar to Ethereum or Bitcoin. So if you currently own a graphics card, you may be able to mine for Flux using that graphics card. I personally don't do any Flux mining. And that's because I've made the decision not to get into GPU or graphics card mining. When I started mining in 2021, the prices of graphics cards were highly inflated due to COVID, supply chain constraints, as well as a high demand for graphics cards by miners. So I personally decided not to get into graphics cards mining. And also Ethereum was thought to be moving away from proof of work to proof of stake, and that end was coming on the horizon, and Ethereum historically has been the most profitable coin to mine. I have some big concerns about graphic card mining when Ethereum moves to proof of stake next month. The available hash rate out there will be far greater than the needs of the remaining projects that use graphics cards mining to support and secure their networks. Projects such as Flux, Ethereum Classic, and Ravencoin, among some many others. This will likely result in a reduced profitability for mining on these projects, or a huge decrease in the price of the underlying graphics cards as a large number of people try to sell their graphics cards since they're no longer highly profitable. I know many GPU miners may not agree with my assessment here. That's my personal opinion, and that's why I'm staying away from GPU mining at this point. Things may change as the market changes over the next several months, and I'll be watching closely. All right, the second way you can earn Flux is by staking your Flux on CoinMetro. This is probably the easiest way to earn additional Flux, and you can earn anywhere between 5.2 and 7.8% APR on your Flux by staking your Flux on this website. You'll earn a higher yield by staking your Flux for a longer duration. They have options between 1 month and 12 months. I personally do not stake any of my Flux on CoinMetro, and that's because I use the third option, and that is running your own Flux node. So you can think of running a Flux node as running your own personal server to support the Flux network. Currently, there are 3 different tiers you can run your Flux nodes on. There's Cumulus, Nimbus, and Stratus. They have different minimum staking requirements for each, and they have different hardware requirements for each. The Stratus node has the largest hardware requirements, as you can see here. These also have different APR yields, depending on which tier you use. Cumulus actually has the highest APR, but your VPS cost as a percentage of your income is also going to be higher than the other tiers. There'll be 2 new node structures that'll be launched here in Q3 and Q4 of 2022. They're called Titan and Cirrus, and they'll have a much lower minimum staking requirement compared to the current 3 node structures. I think this will help provide more accessibility to people to get exposure into running nodes on this project, but personally, I don't think it'll likely be worth the hassle of running a node at these much lower staking requirements. But to be seen how profitable those nodes will be. So currently, there are 3 main options you can use to run your Flux node. I've tried all 3, so I wanted to share my thoughts on each of them. Number 1 is running a node through a VPS service, or a virtual private server service. This is essentially a server that's located offsite that you'll connect your node to, and it'll provide the computing power to run your node. I successfully set up a Flux node using Contabo back in February of 2022 using a YouTube tutorial I found, and I had no issues setting it up, and it was pretty straightforward. There's also some step-by-steps on directions online to run a Flux node using a VPS service. All right, the next option would be running a Flux node on your own server at home. As a warning for this option, I think you need to be quite tech savvy and be able to be willing to troubleshoot issues if you're going to go down this route. This is definitely the cheapest route in the long term if you can get a server at a decent price. If you're going to go this option, the Flux Discord server would be your friend here. There are literally hundreds of people constantly on the Discord server trying to resolve issues with their Flux nodes that they're trying to run from home. You also have people who are running their nodes via VPS services who also run into constant issues. So both this option and a VPS option, there's a chance you'll run into various issues trying to keep your node online and making sure it's passing benchmarks. I personally tried this option. I purchased the reserver from Seed Studio to host my Nimbus node. I've literally spent over 40 hours trying to get my node to work on this server over the past 3 months. I've spent more time trying to use command prompt over the last 3 months than I have in my entire life. I think I tried to install my Flux node more than 10 times and scoured the internet trying to troubleshoot this thing. I was able to successfully install my Flux node at a different location, which led me to believe that my Flux node wasn't working correctly because it wasn't connecting to the internet correctly via my home Wi-Fi network, which led me to believe either port forwarding wasn't working correctly or there was an issue with my router, since my router would not allow me to run a DMZ, thanks Google Wi-Fi. So personally, I've given up on running a Flux node via a server from my own home. I quit. I'm not tech support, and I don't want to spend a considerable amount of time trying to troubleshoot issues. Anyways, I'm looking to sell my reserver from Seed Studio on eBay. I know Seed Studio is currently sold out of it, and a lot of people online are trying to resell them for a much higher cost than the purchase price, but I'm really just trying to recoup my cost. If you're interested in purchasing it, I'll leave it a link in the description down below. So the final option, the option that I'm currently using, is running your Flux node through a hosting service. Now this will be a little bit more expensive than running your node through a VPS. The current setup I have of 1 Stratus and 2 Nimbus nodes, I'm paying $120 a month for this hosting service, and if I were to do this myself through a VPS, I'd be paying about $100 a month. So I'm paying about $20 more a month, but really I would gladly pay the additional $20 a month to not have to worry about troubleshooting my node or maintaining it or making sure that it's constantly passing benchmarks. The hosting service I went with was Goldie Tech Nodes. I just started using them last week. I emailed them last Sunday and they had all my nodes up and running by Monday morning. So it's still early, but I'm very happy with the service they've provided so far, and I've had no issues with my nodes. If you're interested in using them, I'll put a link in the description below, and if you use that link, you'll get 10% off your first order. All right, let's go over a quick analysis I put together on the different types of Flux nodes. So currently there are 3 different tiers of Flux nodes. You have Cumulus, Nimbus, and Stratus. Cumulus being the lowest staking requirement at 1,000 Flux, Nimbus at 12,500, and Stratus at 40,000. You can see the less amount you're staking, the less you're earning in Flux per day. So the Cumulus is earning just under 1 Flux per day. And the PA per day, that's a parallel asset. So in the future, you'll essentially earn parallel assets on any Flux that you hold. So you're essentially, there are, I believe, 5 more parallel assets yet to be announced. So you're earning essentially an additional 50% in parallel assets on any rewards. So you can see your ROI for your Cumulus node is actually much higher than these other nodes. But one thing to keep in mind is your VPS hosting costs are going to be much higher as a percentage of your Flux earned per day for these nodes. So it may not make sense to run up a bunch of Cumulus nodes if you're going to have a high VPS cost to run those nodes. So I currently have 2 Nimbus nodes and 1 Stratus node. And in total, in terms of Flux and parallel assets per month, that earns me just over 750 Flux. And at the current price of 60 cents per Flux, I'm earning $450 per month. If Flux were to go back to its all-time highs that we saw in January of this year, I'd be making $2,355 per month. And then finally, if we go to, I have a long-term price target for Flux of $10 per Flux, we'd be making $7,500 per month, which would be quite crazy. And then currently my hosting expenses per month is $60 for my Nimbus nodes. That's $30 each for each of those nodes. And then $60 for my Stratus nodes. So $120 in hosting expense. And that is a fixed expense per month. So net profit per month based on current prices, I'm pulling in $330 from my Flux nodes. So let's quickly talk about this $10 long-term price target up here. And this is how I'm kind of rationalizing it here. Currently, Flux is ranked number 158 in terms of market size on CoinMarketCap, and that's at a current price of 60 cents per Flux. So they have a market cap of $152 million. Personally, I think Flux could move to the top 30 in terms of crypto projects. So if it was to move to the top 30, it would have a price of $10, and based on current market caps would be a market cap of 2.5 billion. So that's similar to the current market cap of Bitcoin Cash or Algorand, which are currently ranked number 30 and 31. Now, we also have to keep in mind that the prices of all cryptocurrency projects are down considerably right now. So that's a current market cap. If the cryptocurrency market were to increase in value substantially over time here, we could see a much, much higher price compared to this $10 price target I see here. And personally, I think Flux has a lot more going for it currently than Bitcoin Cash or Algorand, but that's obviously just my personal opinion. I want to share this website that Goldie Tech brought my attention to. You can monitor the payouts for your Flux nodes from here, so you can know when your Flux is going to be paid out and by how much. You just need to input your Flux wallet in here. And one other benefit of Flux nodes I want to mention was the ability to run your Presearch nodes actually on your Flux node. Flux nodes have the ability to run different applications on them. And for a price of 1 Flux per month, you can actually host your Presearch nodes on your Flux node. And for that price of 1 Flux, you essentially get 3 or 4 Presearch nodes that you can run your Presearch nodes with. So a very cheap option to run your Presearch node. So what are your thoughts on Flux? Will you be starting your own Flux node? Let me know in the comments section below. The IT development and excitement around this project is unlike many of the other projects I currently see out there. That's why I'm mega bullish on the prospects for Flux long term. If there are any more substantial drops in the price of Flux, I'll be looking to purchase more Flux tokens so that I can spin up more nodes. If you learned anything from this video, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.